Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Seven Sage podcast. I'm Zishan. I'm here with a very special guest today, JY Ping, the founder of Seven Sage. And we're going to take a look at our brand new website today. JY, I'll pass it off to you. But as we know, the bread and butter of LSAT studying is drilling. How do you launch drills on the new Seven Sage website?
Thanks, Ishan. I'm really excited to show everybody what we've been working on for quite some time. So what you're looking at here is the homepage. As soon as you log in, you'll see that it's organized into lessons on the left and drilling on the right. And this reflects a pretty big philosophical change from the classic version of Seven Sage, where we ask everybody to kind of work their way through lessons. That still works for so many students, but we've also heard from so many students that they just want to start drilling. So if you want to do that, it's super easy. The Set Smart Drills, it's based on your analytics and just one click. Based on my analytics, Seven Sage thinks that I should do RC drills. So that's what I'll get into if I click that button. Now, alternatively, you can do your own drills and you just click study. Under practice, you go to drills. And there you have it. You have a choice between LR drills and RC drills. Let's say I want to do LR drills instead. Click new drill. And again, this is pre-populated, right? We'll target your weaknesses with adaptive drills powered by our smart analytics. I can just click start. Alternatively, I can change any number of settings I want. Maybe I want to do a 4-question drill or a 6-question drill. Maybe I want my timing to be different. Maybe I have accommodations, so I'll select accommodations timing. Maybe I don't want to see all the answers at the end. Maybe I want to do this where after I do every question, I get to review the question. So that's what this mode is for. And then there are so many more customizations over here. This is all automatic. If I do automatic, I can pick from LR question stem tags, like maybe my weakness is in flaw descriptive weakening, right? Maybe I want to cut even further down and drill flaw descriptive weakening questions where, let's say, it was conditional reasoning that was used, right? So I can do that. Maybe I only want to drill the medium level questions, right? So I can do that.
And JY, I'm noticing you have question tags, and tags is not necessarily question types. It sounds like you can drill specific skills as well.
That's right. So we do, of course, have question types. This is question stem tags. That's the question types. But then there's also tags that are more skill-based that cut across different question types, like conditional reasoning, for example. You're going to see conditional reasoning in must be true questions, in sufficient assumption questions, in parallel method reasoning questions, in flaw questions, right? Maybe I don't want to work on conditional reasoning. Maybe it's causal reasoning that I want to work on. So causal reasoning shows up on resolve reconcile questions, weaken questions, strengthen questions, evaluate questions, also flaw questions, also parallel questions. So these, we call these stimulus logic, which captures the idea that this is the kind of logic that tends to show up in the stimulus. There are lots of these different tags. And these little bars, by the way, next to them, they indicate the priority that analytics thinks you should. So like for me, for my account,
cool.
Analytics is telling me, yeah, analogy is really important. I don't really need to think about like fact, belief, knowledge. Math tag is not a big deal for me. I mean, just to be clear, my analytics are all made up. But for a real user, the analytics
I'm sure you're good at all of these
real.
question types. Yeah.
Or bad.
Or bad.
But thank you.
When I'm working with students, I feel like a lot of them want to focus in on certain question types, but really what their weakness is a skill issue underneath that question type that might apply to many question types. Like you said, conditional logic applies to so many. And if you're weak on conditional logic, maybe you shouldn't just be drilling one question type, although that could help, but maybe you should create a drill based on a skill and test that across, practice that across multiple question types. So I just want to say this is great.
Yeah, I mean, in that particular use case, I just wouldn't select any, I would not select any of the question stem tags. I would just select the issue, right? Like maybe it's just conditional reasoning. And I would probably select some, if it's really problematic, if it's really high priority, I probably select something like easier, maybe this selection, right, to start with. maybe if I'm really a beginner, I would maybe even do this to begin with, right? And then start a drill that way. Now, of course, you could just not do any of the customization. Just just use what the adaptive drill builder um, presets for you, because that's also based on your analytics. Now, if you're working with a tutor, or if you want to kind of dive deeper into your own analytics, I'm sure you can do something better than the default adaptive smart drilling that we built out. But that you can think of this as kind of like a safety net, as a floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds
Something
nice
else I
to just
wanted
be able to
to,
log on, not really have to think about it, and do 5 questions, and sort of just keep the brain working. I think that's a feature that
yep,
a lot of people would take advantage of.
yep. And the one last thing I want to talk about here is that it's really helpful for students to not only do questions that are fresh to them, but to review questions that they previously gotten wrong, right? So here you can do this, right? You have to clear you clear um, all the other tags, but just do the ones that you've gotten incorrect before, or I've gotten them incorrect more than once before.
Mm.
All right. So that's a really good way to. I mean, I remember when I was studying for the test, I literally kept around cutouts of LR questions that I had gotten incorrect, would cut them out of the paper,
Nice.
stack them up, put a little paper clip on them, and just kind of flip through them. This is like the digital version of that, right? To make sure you really understand why you made a mistake, so that you don't make the same mistake again. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, but you just want to make sure you're making new mistakes.
Yeah, that's cool. I would screenshot questions. Sorry, I would screenshot questions and keep them in a folder on my desktop, and then give myself calendar reminders to go back in a few weeks and look at them again.
Right.
Maybe give yourself some time, so you don't remember the answer. But even if you do, see if you can go through the process again. I think this is a great tool for that. Okay, Jay, why don't we see what it looks like when we launch a drill?
All right, let's do it. Oh, by the way, what one complaint that we heard from a lot of our students is that they want the digital tester to look more like LawHubs. So this is something that we've done. It just feels a lot more like LawHubs tester, because that's the actual tester that you'll be using on test day. So here, I don't know what the answer is. Let's just say it's this. So I hit submit, and this is immediate. We call this immediate feedback mode, right? Which is right. I'm not actually moving on to question 2, right? What I'm doing is I'm being told that I got question 1 wrong, and I'm going to review this question, right? It immediately tells me what the right answer is. If I don't understand why, I can click this button, and it'll reveal a little snippet that Seven Stages content team drafted to explain why this is the correct answer. And there are these snippets for each of the other answers explaining why they're wrong. And if I toggle this button here that says show summary, it has a brief explanation of the stimulus. And this is all to help students study more efficiently. Whereas on the classic 7-stage, you get something wrong, you don't understand it. Typically, your first move is to jump into explanations where you watch a video. Now, for a lot of students, you just don't need to do that anymore. I mean, the video is still here, and you can see here we actually have 2 versions, my version here and Kevin's version here. But for a lot of students, you don't need to. We really want to make sure you not only get as high of a score as you can, but you also spend the least amount of time studying for this. So efficiency helps. And we've seen a lot of users just jump straight to the text explanation and it clicks for them. Great. Then they don't really need to look at the video explanation.
Yeah, another cool thing about this, I remember when I was studying, and didn't feel like watching an entire video explanation, I would defer to maybe online forums and try to search up the question, see what other people had said about it, maybe on Reddit or a different LSAT forum. But it's nice to have a text explanation right there, because it might just be one small thing that didn't click for you. So yeah, I definitely appreciate this feature. And if I was really stuck, I'd probably go and watch the video explanation. But it's also nice to have a stimulus breakdown, because maybe 9 times out of 10, the reason you got a question wrong is because of a shortfall in your understanding of the stimulus. So I think that's huge as well.
Yeah, and speaking of forums, you see that I just pulled open our own discussion forums, which is, and you see for this question, there's 191 comments. So there's a
It's
lot
popular.
of
Yeah.
Yeah, it's popular. So there's a lot of questions, and you see the top comments here are actually official 7-stage tutor responses. So somebody asked a question, and our tutor, one of our 7-stage tutors, 99th percentile scorers, would respond. Same with this one here. This one, Max Thompson, one of our tutors, responded. And of course, we have student-generated comments as well. Kevin responded. Here, you can sort by most likes. Let's see what that looks like. So somebody read facilities as fatalities. So that's a very common mistake, apparently, because 68 people loved it. And if you're wondering how you can get your own comment to be responded to by a tutor, that's back over here in the explanations tab. You'll see that under either video explanation, there's an Ask a Tutor button. If you click it and ask your question, one of our tutors will respond to your question, and it will show up here, both your question and the tutor answer. So this is a very underutilized feature. But if you're subscribed to 7-Stage, you have a tutor at your disposal.
So anyone can use that regardless of your plan level.
Well, free you cannot. But if you're subscribed to Core or higher, you can.
Cool. And how often are tutors checking these threads and responding?
Turnaround time varies. When it gets really busy, it could take up to 3 days, but typically we get the response out in under, well, I don't want to, I'll just say a day to 2 days.
That's cool. No, it's good to know. I think sometimes it feels maybe discouraging to pose a question on a forum because you don't know if anybody will see it or if anybody will respond. But to know that tutors are sort of lurking and are responding within a few days, and also there's other students responding and are active on these.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super helpful to know.
Yeah, totally. And we, of course, still have our notes function. You can type notes here. We have our analytics over here. You can see 44% of people got this right. Oh, this is a really difficult question. No wonder there are so many comments. If you look at the curve on this question, it's a 5-star question, but look at the curve here. Students with a 50% chance of getting this question right is 172. That means if you have 172, you still have a 50% chance of missing this question.
Yeah, yeah. So this is stumping the 99th percentile scorers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, and here's the our answer popularity distribution. So yeah, should we move through the rest of this drill, and we can take a look at what the analytics looks like afterwards?
Yeah. Let's see the analytics.
Yeah. So let me just get through this. Sure, I'm gonna guess. I hope I get at least one of these correct. All right, I'm gonna let you guess.
I really like the interface. It does look a lot more.
I'm on
like
a streak
Laha.
here.
Yeah.
What Zishan, why don't you take a stab at the last one?
Okay. Oh, let's go C. I think that's my panic answer choice.
There you go.
Oh, we're really on a streak.
We went for it. We went 100%. 100% incorrect. Okay, so here's what review looks like. You can see that these are all the questions. We've got all the tags here showing up. There's a lot of analytics that you can drill into here. You can see the answer popularity right over here. One of our most beloved features is timing. That still shows up here. What else can you do? You can jump right back into the digital tester. You can jump back in this way. You can jump back in this way. You can also, if you don't want to jump back in, you just want to see the question, you can just pull it up like this.
So JY, maybe I might slow you down for a second and ask, say I'm a student and I come to this page and I see, these sort of red X's, I see popular answer choices. I see also maybe that I'm going slower than is recommended. Where do I really start to get the most out of these analytics and drive my review process? How do I really steer how I'm going to review based on what I'm seeing on this page?
Yeah, so we've tried as much as we could to solve that problem automatically for all of our users. That's what Smart Analytics is attempting to do. It is trying to figure out where you're performing. Here, let's just look at my analytics. This is a good segue into the analytics portion. So this is a set of summary statistics on your performance. But if you start scrolling down, priorities by tag, we try to take all of that that knowledge about your current level of performance and where we think you could be performing at. And we try to compress all that down into priorities by tag. So you'll see that for logical reasoning, it's recommending that I start a drill on causal reasoning because, well, again, my analytics are messed up, but for a real student, it will show your actual accuracy and where we think you should be. And we organize it. The priority is based on the number of point gains that we expect you to be able to have by working on this, by bringing your accuracy to expected accuracy. And we make it really easy to we make actionables very easy, right? Like all you have to do is just hit start a drill, and then you'll be drilling on the thing that is the highest priority for you. You can see as you scroll down, um, well, again, my accuracy doesn't drop off, but in a normal user, the priorities will start to drop off, and then you scroll further and you get to the same thing for reading comprehension.
And then you can start a drill right from the analytics tab, which is new as well.
Yep.
And you're back to the drill page.
Start a drill. You're back to the drill page. Something else that's new that a lot of students have asked for is just one-click sections. So you can do that now, right? You can just like, which section do you want to drill, right? Maybe I want to do a timed LR section, and here I can just start a section. I can make setting changes if I want. I can, maybe I don't want to spoil a new section. I want to do something I've done before, right? Maybe I want to select specifically which section I want to do, right? It tells me when I took it. Again, timing settings, but I can just start right away.
That's awesome. So yeah, you don't have to build a custom drill, go into a PT and add all the questions to do a full section, or even go into the drilling or the PT section to do a section at a time, but rather section is its own drilling feature by itself.
That's right. And
cool.
That's right. And on the top level menu, it's organized. Our practice is organized into drill, section, and prep test, because those are the three things that you practice with, right? Over here, I mean, the whole logic of this layout is what do you do when you study for the LSAT? There's a bunch of learning, right? You learn the foundations, and you could do that through our core curriculum, which is still here, our live classes, which we run like, how many are we up to? Like 10 a day?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Right. And then you can practice what you've learned. And then the last thing you do is, of course, you look at your analytics in order to review your practice, to figure out what next to practice, right? So that's the logic of how we organize the menu.
And JY, now that you're on this analytics page, I'm noticing a new tab of drills. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I'm just going to pull up a student's actual analytics. I realize using mine is kind of silly. So this is new on the new Summit page. At a glance, you can take a look at your performance on drills overall. So for this particular student, they've taken 250 drills. This is their overall aggregate accuracy. No doubt they are more accurate. No doubt their most recent drills accuracy is higher than 79%, and their earlier drills accuracy is less than 79%. You can see how many they've drilled overall.
Props to this anonymous student who is studying a lot.
Yes, absolutely. This is their entire drill history. You can sort it by LR or RC drills. You can dive into any one of these drills. Let's just dive into this one, for example. You'll see that this one, they blind reviewed one question. They got it correct, but they still blind reviewed it. You can see they went a bit over time on this. What else can we see? We can see, let's take a look also at the other analytics. Let's look at their section analytics. You can see that they're just getting better over time, right? The bars getting shorter means they're getting fewer and fewer wrong over time. RC, there's some variance, but you can see like the last two, they did really well here.
Yeah, I was going to say this is cool because, one thing I find, I found this when I was studying, and I also find this when I'm working with students, that sometimes when you're taking practice tests, you might be learning a lot of material and practicing it, but there might be a little bit of lag before you see your practice tests really shoot up. But what's cool is that, you can measure now the progress in between. That not every bit of learning translates to a jump in a PT score, but you can see how your drills and sections might kind of increase steadily over time. And then you can anticipate when that when that spike is going to come. I always tell students, your progress is going to go kind of like this up and down for a while, and then you'll see a big spike in your
Yeah.
PTs. I think that's kind of common for a lot of folks. This is cool because now you can kind of measure the learning in between. I used to kind of bang my head at the wall, drilling, not seeing my practice test scores go up until they did. And I never really knew whether I was on that right track or not. But this kind of shows you, the sort of the steps in between, which I think is great.
Yeah, for sure. And this student has shown a lot of improvement. You can see they started at 160, and most recently they're testing between 175, 168. And I think we can take a look at their priorities by tag. So this is like more real. You look at the priorities by tag. They need to work on link assumptions. I can't start a drill because this is not my. If they were viewing it, they'd be able to start a drill. And then you can see as you scroll down, the priorities start to decrease. All right. So it takes a lot of the guessing work out of what they need to be focused on. Now, obviously, like it's still better if you have a tutor who can, if you have like a human mind, someone who is a subject matter expert, like really drill down and get into your analytics with you to figure out like how to tweak around this. But this is, the priorities by tag. It's a great way to just kind of bring up the floor of what's available, right? You don't have to think as much. You can just start a drill.
Yeah, this is cool. I'm just imagining, JY, what you must have gone through when you were studying for the LSAT pre-7 Sage, and potentially, correct me if I'm wrong, going through each practice test, categorizing questions on your own, sorting them, and then maybe making a mental priority list, and like you said, cutting them out and then maybe drilling them. I don't even know how you would construct a drill. You'd have to go into each PT and pluck questions based off their question stems, right?
That drilling really was not a thing prior to the LSAT becoming digital. Like when it was paper and pencil, it was too difficult to construct a drill. So you really just took prep tests, and then you studied, you reviewed you blind reviewed, you studied your mistakes, and then you take another prep test, and you hope that you were able to internalize the lessons and just not make the same mistake again. But drilling just makes it a lot more targeted.
Yeah. This is awesome. JY, thanks so much for sharing this with us. It seems like we're in a new era where you really don't have to think about anything other than the content of the LSAT. Everything is done for you. Your priorities are sorted for you. Your drills are made for you. And you can just focus on getting the highest score possible. So JY, thanks for coming on the show and showing us the new website. I think students are going to love it.
I hope so. I'm super excited to release this. And if I could just say one last thing before I go, the reason we built this new website is actually very simple. We've heard from a lot of students over a long time about what they wanted to see in their LSAT prep platform, and we heard you, and we tried our best to deliver what you wanted. So I think this is a huge improvement over our existing website. But at the end of the day, you're gonna tell us whether this is helping you study for the test more efficiently and more effectively. So thank you, Zishan, for having me.
Yeah, cool. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.